In this video, I want to talk about training as we get older. A lot of people have joint problems. In karate and related martial arts, it's particularly hips and knees. They're the kind of main places that we tend to have a lot of trouble with. Now, the first thing I would say is if you're having a joint problem, go and see an osteopath or a chiropractic. Okay? Years ago, when I was in my late teens, I was having a problem with a swollen knee. There's so much swelling, the swelling was going down to the ankle, and it was literally about twice the size. I went to see my GP, my general practitioner, as we call them in the UK, and all they basically told me was rest it. So I rested it, swelling went down, trained, swelling come back. This carried on, several visits to the doctor. They even sent me to the hospital to have an x-ray. The x-ray showed no faults with the knee joints, and all I was told was rest it longer. So that's all I got from the mainstream medical department. I went to see an osteopath, and he fixed me up in one night. Okay, basically he manipulated my hip joints. He told me the problem wasn't in the knee, the problem was in the hip, and because the hip was out of place, it was making the knee joints misalign, and the strain was going down the wrong way down the leg. So when I went to the mainstream doctors, they didn't even look at the hip. They only looked where the symptoms were. So that's the first thing. If you've got a problem, I'd seriously recommend going to see an osteopath or a chiropractor. For joint problems, they are so much better than your standard general practitioner. Okay. The other thing is, if you've got a misaligned joint, then again, osteopaths, chiropractors can be very good for that. If it's a worn joint, osteoarthritis, things like that, then there's not really too much that even an osteopath can do. What tends to happen is if you've got a joint that's rubbing, bit of wear and tear and it's rubbing, the muscles around it tend to tighten up. And then that kind of like restricts the movement so it can't rub so hard. And that's why we get stiff joints that we have trouble moving. Now, an osteopath or chiropractor, they can loosen those muscles so that we get more movement again in the joints, but it's not solving the root cause. Right, for years, I've had osteoarthritis in both of my knees, okay? Back in my 20s, I had a cartilage operation on my left knee. In fact, I had two cartilage operations because the first one wasn't successful. So I've had like 3 decades of bone on bone rubbing in the knee joints where there was not a full cartilage there. So, of course, over time, you're going to get a build-up of damage. So after about 3 decades of that, the osteoarthritis gradually getting a little bit worse. I went to see a specialist. I was actually recommended a full knee operation on my left neck, a knee replacement operation, an artificial joint put in. Now, at the time, I wasn't prepared to do that. It would mean like at least 3 months off work, maybe more. It was difficult to afford that at the time. It would mean closing my club down because I didn't have any senior grades who could take over at the time. So I had to kind of like look around for other ways of doing it. Now, for years, I've taken supplements to help my joints. I've taken multivitamin and mineral supplements. I've taken particularly collagen, which some people take for the skin. A lot of people take it for their joints. So I've been taking collagen supplements for years, but gradually the issues was getting worse and worse and worse. Now, at one point I went and got a CT scan to see what was wrong. And what it concluded is 3 main things: severe osteoarthritis in both knees. I had a worn anterior cruciate ligament, and I also had a wear tear in the meniscus, okay, which is the cartilage. Now, any one of them on their own could stop you training, put you out of training, and I had all 3 at the same time. Now, as I'd managed for years and years, just managed it, controlled it. But about just over 3.5 years ago, I think it was around about February, March in 2019, I had a big flare up and I was in a lot of pain in my knee. At the time of recording this, it's December 2022, so I'm looking back just over 3.5 years ago in early 2019. So bearing that in mind, I was having a big flare up in the pain. I was looking at having to end my karate training. I had to close down my club because I was in pain. I was in pain every day just walking up and down, which I'll tell you a little bit more about in a minute. Okay, so like I said, I tried a number of different supplements. I tried vitamin and mineral supplements. I tried collagen to support my knee joints, but that didn't stop them deteriorating, and it didn't stop the big flare up in my knees. After I had the big flare up and I was in a lot of pain with it, I was recommended another number of other supplements. I tried turmeric extract, I tried wild comfrey, I tried comfrey oil. People recommended me their network marketing products that was really supposed to be really good for joints. None of these things really made any noticeable difference. The only thing that did work for me was these stem cell activation patches. And basically the way they work, you peel the two pieces off the back and you stick them on your body. Okay, there's two main points at where you can stick them on, either just on the back of the neck or just below the navel. They're the two main points for general health. Other than that, you can stick them on points where you have an injury or where you need help. For me, I've been sticking them mainly on my knee. Okay, so all they are is a little patch. You stick it on them, stick it on your body. Now the way they work is there's no chemicals in this patch that enter your body. There's no chemicals, no medication, no vitamins or minerals or anything like that. The way it works is when you put it on your body, your body produces infrared heat that activates the patch. When the patch is activated, it sends a light signal back into your body. And the easiest way to describe it is like when you go out in sunlight, your body produces vitamin D. There's no chemicals involved, no vitamins or minerals or anything like that. It's just your body's reaction to the sunlight. So when this sends a signal back into your body, it induces the body to produce what we call a copper peptide. The copper peptide induces your body to produce stem cells. As we get older, the stem cells become less active, they become more sluggish, and that's part of the reason why we go through the aging process. So when this activates your stem cells act younger, and they're also more numerous and more prolific. So it has quite a profound effect on the body, which I'll try and explain to you in the rest of this video. Right, just to prove what I've been telling you, I'd like to show you a little bit of evidence, just so you can see I'm not actually making it up or exaggerating. So this first letter is from a specialist knee surgeon who examined me, and this is dated 11th of June 2018. So that's a full year before I started taking the stem cell patches, and it's almost a full year before I had the big flare-up that I was talking about. Now, if we look at the second paragraph, he refers to examination reveals a man who stands with a bilateral valgus knees. Now, valgus is basically the opposite to being bow-legged. Instead of your knees sticking outwards, they come inwards, and your feet stick outwards at the sides. And tenderness in the lateral compartment, particularly on the lateral compartment, stressing, where one can actually feel and hear the bone-on-bone grinding over itself. So bear that in mind. This is the specialist saying you can actually feel and hear bone-on-bone grinding over itself. A full year before I had my big flare-up. Now, in the part that I've highlighted, this is more or less his conclusions and recommendations. I have explained the nature of the condition to Mr. Wildish and outlined some treatment options, including continued non-operative management, injection therapy, which I am not convinced will help him much, through to osteotomy, to half and total knee replacement. Now, the injection therapy that he's referring to, that's basically stem cell therapy, where they take a sample of your own stem cells, they grow them in a culture, and then they re-inject them back into your own body. Now, if I remember right, I think this was about £1,600 a knee, and he's not convinced that that would help me very much. Through to the osteotomy, which is, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's basically where they cut the leg open, they take a little wedge shape out of the bone so they can realign it and make the leg straight and get rid of the valgus, through to half and total knee replacement. So most of the emphasis you can see is on having a big operation that would have put me out of action for a long time, certainly playing down the stem cell therapy, and again that's the injection therapy rather than the patches which I'm talking about now. So that was a full year before my big flare-up. This next one is the result of the MRI scan. Now earlier on I said CT scan, so I apologise, I got that wrong. I should have said MRI scan. Now if we look at the part I've highlighted in yellow, the conclusion, it says severe osteoarthritis of the medial tibiofemoral joint, which is part of your knee, a degenerative tear of the medial meniscus. The meniscus is your cartilage. I had said earlier on a wear tear, but degenerative tear, I think I was close enough. And a degenerative anterior cruciate ligaments are seen. Now, this was dated, where is it? This was dated 5th of September 2019. So this MRI scan was taken after I'd already been taking the patches and after I'd already felt some benefit from the patches, which I will explain to you in a minute. This is a cycle path near my home, okay? I often come down here with my companion Ziggy, my faithful dog. So yeah, I often come down here. I think it's a disused railway line which they tarmacked over and turned into a public footpath for cyclists, dog walkers, joggers, all sorts. So yeah, a very regular walk for me and Ziggy. Now, when my problems really started flaring up, I would take him for about 30-40 minutes walk down here, and I would go back and I'd be in absolute pain. Okay, and then, you know, later on I've got to go and teach karate. At the time I was thinking I was going to have to give up teaching the karate classes. If I can't walk up and down here on a flat tarmac surface for about half an hour, and at the time I was teaching 3 classes back to back for 3/4 of an hour, I was teaching 3 classes back to back for 3.5 hours, I was looking at having to give it up. But I noticed after taking the patches for about a week or 2 weeks, instead of coming back in pain, I was coming back and my knee was stiff. Okay, I'm not going to say kind of like miraculously healed up. No, that didn't happen, but it was stiff rather than painful. And after over 3 decades of wear and tear, having had the cartilage operation and part of my cartilage removed and bone-to-bone grinding, to come that far in less than a fortnight, where it had gone from pain to stiffness, I was very well impressed. I'm in Amadan Woods now. This is a local beauty spot near where I live, and it's another place that I like to take Ziggy for walks. Now, in the last part of the video, I showed you a public path near me, which is nice and flat and tarmacked. It's an easy walk. This, as you can see, it's a lot more rough and ready, different terrain altogether. It's a bit more muddy, up and down, different type of terrain altogether. After 6 weeks of taking the patches, I walked Ziggy up here and we walked for an hour and a half, and at the end of it I was not in pain. Okay, my knees were stiff, but I wasn't in pain. So going from half hour on a flat tarmacked smooth surface and having pain to walking 3 times the length of time on a uneven terrain and coming back with stiffness rather than pain after 3 decades of bone-on-bone grinding because of cartilage operations, I was highly impressed. And I've got to say, so was Iggy. He was impressed too. He enjoyed his walk.
Right, here I am on another walk with Diggy. There's a little fella just over there. Now, I promise you this is the last walk that I'm going to show you, but there is a reason why I'm doing this. Now, as I described, a lot of the pain had reduced to stiffness. Over the couple of months, the stiffness reduced. Now, on this walk, I'm on a small slope. It's a little hill just overlooking my hometown. So there's my hometown over there. Okay, so I'm on a small hill. Now, anyone will tell you that who's got bad knees, it's more difficult going down a slope or downstairs than it is going up. There's a feeling that your knee is going to collapse from underneath you. So when I was doing this walk, I would tend to cut across at an angle to reduce the level of the slope. Either that, or I would sometimes kind of crab walk down, where kind of partly walking sideways, again to try and take the pressure off the knees. Now, after some months, I lose track a little bit, to be honest. I would say maybe about 6 or more months. I noticed that if I take it cautiously, I could actually walk directly down the hill. Okay, not having to sort of crab walk sideways, not having to go at an angle. Now, after a little bit more time after that, another month or so, I noted that not only could I walk straight down, but then my confidence just to slide out increased. So when you think about it, I've gone from struggling to walk on the flat to being able to stride down confidently down a slope. Okay, over about, I don't know, 6-7 months. So I lose track a little bit of this one. So again, it's a huge improvement. Now, I know this video is supposed to be about martial arts training as you get older and training with osteoarthritis and injuries. It's not supposed to be about dog walking, but I've used these to emphasize the improvements that I can make. It's easier to kind of give a feel for the improvement doing it, given these examples. Now, all I would say, I mean, it was improving my karate training. I've been able to do more and more, but it's also just improving the whole quality of my life. You know, all aspects of my life, the quality was being improved. It's fantastic.
Another effect I noticed after I started using the patches, which was totally unexpected, if you look at the photograph on the left, you'll see some scars on my shin on my right leg. Now, I don't actually know for sure what caused these scars. I believe it was a form of localized psoriasis, which obviously got a bit bad at one time, and the marks just left there. The marks were years old, at least a decade, if not more. But I noticed after taking the patches for about a month that these marks were beginning to fade slightly. So I thought I'd take a photograph as a record and see what happened. Now, bearing in mind, the photograph on the left is after the marks have already started to fade. That was not the full fierceness of the scars. Fast forward to the photograph which I've recently taken on the right, on the 30th of December 2022, which is a bit over 3 years later. You'll see the scars have all but disappeared. Now, I've also got a friend and student who trains with me in the karate, Dawn. She's been using the patches for a long time as well, for other ailments. And she also noticed that very old scars started to fade. So what I would say to you is, if scars are fading on the outside of your body and you can physically see it and record it, what's happening on the inside of your body? Now, when I had my cartilage operations, as well as having the cartilage removed, there would have been scars inside my knee from the 2 keyhole surgeries. And I would hope that those scars are fading in the same way that the scars on the outside are fading. As a bit of an aside, I've always been told that I look a bit younger than I am. And last year, or this year, I had my 60th birthday, and two people expressed a great deal of surprise that I was actually 60 because they thought that I was in my late 40s. Now, again, that's not the main reason I take the patches. I'm taking it mainly for the joints, so I can carry on my karate and be active. But it is a nice little side effect when it affects your skin on the outside and you can visibly see the difference and other people can see the difference. And like I say, you just got to ask yourself, if that's what's happening on the outside, what's happening inside? Bearing in mind, stem cells are part of your body's natural healing system. Okay, whether you damage your skin, whether you damage your bone, whatever part of your body you damage your organs, when the body repairs itself, it's stem cells going to that area to create the new cells that the body needs to have replaced. That is part of your healing process. Okay, I'm up in my loft at the moment, so forgive me, the lighting isn't particularly brilliant. It is used as a storage area, so please excuse the mess to the side. But I'm up here in the loft and I've got this big kick bag up here. It's a £100 kick bag, so it's a big one, bigger than I am. Okay, now just to recap, severe osteoarthritis, a degenerative tear in the meniscus, and a worn anterior cruciate ligament. Okay, no surgery. The main thing I've been using for the last 3.5 years is these stem cell patches, which I was telling you about. I have used some vitamin and mineral supplements, but since I've been taking these, I've been using less supplements than I was using before. Okay, so this is the leg that I could hardly walk on. See what you think now. Okay, you can always generate more power lower down, so let's try lower. Okay, try a side thrust kick. Front kick. And that's the leg I could hardly walk on. That's the leg that I'd go half an hour walking down a flat path with my dog and come back limping on. So that's the difference these patches have made to me. Now, I still can't do this all night long. Okay, if I was kind of kicking that bag for half an hour or so, my knees are still going to start getting painful. There's a limit to how much I can do that. I still can't kneel all the way properly, but I'm 60 years old. Most youngsters can't kick the way I can. Okay, I'm 60 years old. I've had all those kind of degenerative issues that I'm telling you about, and I can do that. So I'll say, draw your own conclusion. Now, with all the things I've told you today, I cannot guarantee that will work for you. For everyone, there is also difference. Some people, I had a friend who had a migraine, put a patch on the back of his neck, within an hour or so, the migraine is gone. Some people report improvements very, very quickly. For me, I didn't notice any improvements for about 3 days. And then I've kind of continually noted, as time gone on, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Initially, the improvement is fairly rapid, and then it kind of slows down a little bit, but it still carries on. Okay, after 3.5 years, I'm still finding every now and again that I'm able to do something a little bit better than I used to do before. I'm going to leave a link down below in the description, so by all means check it out. You'll find it on the website. You'll find there's a link there for scientific data, studies that have been done on the products. So help yourself, please look at the scientific data, check it out thoroughly. You'll find testimonials from lots of other different people with a whole range of complaints. Now, I say I can't guarantee it's going to work for you. It's a little bit different for everybody, but all I can suggest is you try it. Compared to regular stem cell therapy, where they take the stem cells out of you, grow them in a culture, and then re-inject them back into you, that can cost thousands of dollars, and there's no guarantee it's going to work or not. This will cost you a hell of a lot less, and within a month, within the first packet, you'll know whether it's working or not, or you should do. If you do go to that link, I'm going to be honest, I will get a small commission from it, but that will not affect the price that you pay. Okay, so I'm being open here and transparent. If somebody else has referred you to this video to have a look, then please get back to that person and ask them to send you a link. That's only fair and ethical because they're the person that recommended you to this video. So please get back to the person that recommended you. Okay, if you've enjoyed this video and you found it useful, please leave me a like and a comment below because it all helps with the YouTube algorithm and helps to promote this channel. So please give me some support. Thank you.